About a da da dee doo dee 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 wee. What is up, y'all? Philyfli Show checking in here, kicking it at Right Way Production Studios, and we are back to the show, baby. If you have not paid attention to the Philyfli Show in the last couple weeks, I have a new Twitter out where I post my picks too. So if you don't listen to the podcast, you can't catch it. I get it. Podcast is mainly for people that want to have a little bit more of a breakdown and why I like most of these fighters. If you don't know much about me, it's your first time connecting with the Philyfli Show. I am your host, Philyfli. Loving what I do, and I'm one of those type of people that I do not miss a fight. And when I say I don't miss a fight, like ever since even high school, something be a fight in high school, man, I was in front row trying to get some kind of, not footage I would say, but visual of the fight. Something about it, I love combat sports. Big combat sports, guys. But when I say I don't miss a fight, like, guys, I watch every single event, prelims all the way to the main event. I'd say 85% to 90% of all UFC events, so that's fight nights, that's Tuesday night Dana White Contender Series, and, pay-per-views. So Saturdays and Tuesdays are usually pretty booked for me. I don't do a show about the Dana White Contender Series because these are up-and-comers, and I don't know much about them. There's a couple really good websites for up-and-coming fighters that are in smaller professional promotions. If you don't know some of these up-and-comers, these sites are actually really informational. I don't have them offhand, so I'm not going to do that. But, again, I'm going to put out my Twitter/X. It is Philyfli999. If you do not know how to spell it, it is PHILYFLI 3 nines, baby. Let's go. We are going to get it. I am bringing, on my Twitter, I am posting a couple of, information about fights upcoming, big name fights that I really like. One of the big name fights I'm just going to throw out there, and we're not going to really talk about it, but I'll throw it out there because I really like the fight and y'all need to know about it. They announced Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway 3, and it's not 100% confirmed, but it's pretty confirmed that is Dustin Poirier's last ever UFC fight. So it's a good future fight to pay attention to. We've had some craziness going on this week, but we are here for UFC pay-per-view 315 in Montreal, Canada. We have Belel Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. Jeez, JDM's name is going to be so hard. So for literally the rest of the show, his nickname is JDM. Y'all are going to know who that is. It's Jack Della Maddalena. Hard name to say. Okay, that is the main event. In the co-main event is another championship fight. It is a flyweight female fight between Valentina Shevchenko and Manon Fiorot. If you do not know Shevchenko, that'd be nuts. But I'm going to say almost 100% of people do. But Manon Fiorot, not a lot of people are actually going to know who she is unless you pay. If you don't pay attention to UFC, you're not going to know who she is. Tall, great fighter. This is a good flyweight title fight. I'm actually glad they didn't do the Alexa Grasso fight again with Shevchenko. Let's get that down the road. They need to settle things foremost and for all. So, wow, got a little sidetracked here. It's because my computer froze there. I thought everything was going down. I was like, no. All right, so we are UFC pay-per-view 315 with a quick little review. So let's get into it. It's a 12-leg matchup here. We will start in the male division bantamweight. Brad, the Canadian Cantona versus Benzat Alamacan. Now, Baxat is a negative 155 favorite, whereas Brad is a plus 130 underdog. Brad needs a big win here because it just seems like he can get through these Ultimate Fighter. He's won the Ultimate Fighter twice, technically. One as a young guy coming up. The last Ultimate Fighter was kind of guys who are already in the UFC and trying to remake a name for themselves. That's how that last one went. He's won both of them. Dude's a good fighter, but it just seems like when the stiff competition comes up in the UFC, he struggles. So, with that being said, I'm going to go with the favorite there in Baxat, but I am not confident on this fight, guys. 1 out of 5 on the confidence level. He gets his hand raised. All right, match leg number 11 is a male fight, or the male division fight in the featherweight division. Daniel Santos versus Young Lee. Now, Young Lee, negative 120 favorite. Daniel Santos, plus 100. This is going to be a don't blinker fight. Up and coming prospects, guys who have they've got some good wins under their belts, but when they're facing off like this is a don't miss fight. And I'm pretty confident, though, that Daniel Santos will get his hand raised after this fight. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level that Daniel gets his hand raised. Now, match number 10 is another Canadian on here. It is a male middleweight division fight. Marc-Andre Baralt versus Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva plus 125 underdog, negative 160 on Marc-Andre Baralt. Look, man, Marc-Andre Baralt is a well-rounded fighter. So is Bruno Silva. What this came down to me was not the odds, was not any of that. I've watched plenty of fights of each of these guys. Bruno Silva was a killer dog, but I don't know what happened. I don't know if age caught up with him. I don't know if he stopped putting in the training, if he changed camps. Just something fell off. And in his last fight, his last 2 fights, all he did was complain to the ref. And it's like, what? What is going on here? Why are you complaining to the ref? Like, I get fighters complaining to the ref when dudes are doing stuff dirty, but it was like, guy eye poked him, then kicked him in the nuts. Or something like that. And I'd have to go back and actually watch that fight to lay it all down because it was like 6 different things. And then all of a sudden, every time he'd get hit with a jab or a punch to the eye, he just started yelling eye poke every time. And the ref stopped it a couple of times. And I was like, dude, this guy's... And then one of the times he stopped it, he did the replay little signal thing. And the other ref that's out on the outside looked at the replay, saw it was a punch, told him to get the fight going. Fight got going. Bruno Silva lost. I don't think he's got the heart or the dog in him anymore. That's why I'm going to go off of, and that's also a good lean on why I think Marc-Andre Baralt gets a win, because he's in Canada and he loves to fight in Canada. Obviously, if you're Canadian, you're going to want to fight in your home country. It's just how it is. So, good on Marc-Andre Baralt at that negative 160 to get a win. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level. He gets his hand raised. I did a little too much breakdown on that one for you guys. All right, match number 9 is a light heavyweight bout between Navarro Sterling and Ivan Ursulan. Now, Ivan's a plus 260 underdog, whereas Navarro's a negative 360 favorite. If you know anything about the Philyfli show, we have 2 top favorite camps: City Kickboxing and Shoot a Box. Those are my top 2 favorite camps. I love so many fighters out of there, and there is a third one now that I really am catching on to, and everyone's kind of catching on to it. I'll say this, there's a third one that's joined the race that is called the Fighting Nerds. If you don't know who the Fighting Nerds are, get yourself some Fighting Nerd glasses. Those things are cool. But the Fighting Nerds are cool, but really it's about City Kickboxing and Shoot a Box for me. As saying that, Navarro Sterling is a City Kickboxing fighter. So you know what that means? We are picking the City Kickboxer to have 3 confidence level fights of 3 out of 5 on 3 of them in a row. Can spell bad trouble, but we're going Navarro Sterling with a negative 360 favorite and 3 out of 5 on the confidence level. He gets his hand raised. All right, match number 8 is a banger. And when I mean banger, guys, I mean like, dude. 2 guys that just want to take each other's heads off and just brawl and sprawl. Yeah, sign me the bleep up, bruh. So we got Modestas Bukakas versus Ian Cutelaba. Ian's a negative 120 favorite. Bukakas is a plus 100 underdog as of right now. Obviously, these all can switch, and from these betting sites, everything's different. So I'm pretty much doing an app. Whatever you call it's around the average. It's going to be around these numbers. Remember that always, guys. But Modestas he has fought so many good prospects. He has fought so many good guys where I'm like, why are they not giving him the top of the top, the cream of the crop? And then Ian Cutelaba's been on a crazy upcoming. He doesn't gas himself in the whole first round. He goes for it a bit. He does still, but he doesn't do that thing where he gasses himself out, gets beat up in the first round, and then the next 2 rounds is just him getting either demolished or knocked out. He's learned to control the gas tank. He's learned to be a better fighter and not so aggressive. And that's why Ian Cutelaba is a favorite right now, because he can use that wrestling. The difference here, Ian doesn't have good head movement, so Bukakis is going to be able to land. Bukakis is able to land and keep him at distance. Bad night for Ian. So I'm going to go to Modestas Bukakis, but I cannot be that confident. Only 1 out of 5 on the confidence level here, because this is a banger and either of these guys can put each other out. All right, match leg number 7 is a female, our first female fight of the night, flyweight division fight. Jessica Andrade versus the other Canadian girl on here, Jasmine Jasudavicius. Now, Jasudavicius is a negative 330 favorite. If you have not seen what she did to Priscilla Corchea, go watch that fight. She put a clinic on that girl and showed why she could be the top striker in the flyweight female division. Just throwing it out there, guys. I know we got Wiley in there, but not Wiley, sorry. I know Wiley could be up in there as a top female striker, but not in the flyweight division. Jessica Andrade, though, she is a dog. So many UFC fights. I think she's closing in on 40 UFC fights or something like that. Insane. She's been in the female division since the beginning, almost, it feels like. And she's great. I love her attitude. I love her fighting style. She'll go in there. She'll stand and bang. She'll grapple. She'll do it all. She's well rounded. Problem is, Jasudavicius has showed she's got good grappling defense, and her striking is just too elite. So, because of that, I'm going to go with Jasmine Duvicius, but I'm not very confident. Only 1 out of 5, because as a UFC vet, you could put it on them, make them well-rounded, make them defend the takedowns and everything, and you just outpoint her. So, could be an outpoint fight by Jessica. It's not a bad bet to put 255 plus 255 on Jessica. It's not that bad if you want to go that route, but I'm telling you, I ain't going that route. Jasmine Duvicius, W, hand raise after the fight. All right, featured prelim bout here. This featured prelim bout is huge for me. Mike Malott is a Canadian, yes, but Mike Malott has struggled against these great strikers and guys who can just defend takedowns, because he is more of a grappler. I'd say he's well-rounded, but his grappling outweighs his striking. It always has, it always will be. Mike is a negative 170 favorite, welterweight male division. Charles Radke is a plus 140 underdog. I probably should have said the names. Mike Malott versus Charles Radke. That's the fight. Charles has done the thing where you poke the bear, but not only has he poked the bear in Mike Malott by talking all that trash and being, I'll say it, he's being disrespectful to him. But he's got a reason for it. He's American, and if you remember what these dang Canadians, blame Canada, do, every time there's something in America, we start singing the national anthem, they start booing because they're just not very, just not very educated people. Sorry. Just sorry. So you pissed off an American, you pissed off the wrong American. This guy goes for blood. This guy's a killer. He's a stand and bang and put your lights out. And like I said, he can grapple a bit too. Mike, the whole point of the story, not only is he poking Mike, but he's also poking the fans, man, saying, bleep Canada and all this stuff. I'm standing with Charles Radke on this one. Y'all want to be disrespectful? We can be disrespectful too. Take it or leave it. Charles Radke with a big old W on Saturday. Featured prelim bout. Take that 140 and cash it. 3 out of 5 in the comments. Love it. My guy, Chuck Radke, gets his hand raised. All right, we'll jump to the main card. It is not the greatest main card. I'm not here to always. I love the UFC, and I usually defend them because they're usually on point. But this card could have did a little better. Just a tidbit. Mainly to start off the fight. Here we get Benoit Saint-Denis, awesome lightweight fighter. But he's got to fight Kyle Prepelic. Prepelic is a plus 700 as of right now. Benoit Saint-Denis is negative 1,300. When I started looking at this yesterday and planning out my whole podcast, dude, Benoit Saint Denis was like negative 1,100. So he's already gone up $200. It's by the time this fight closes, it'll probably be negative 1,500 to 2,000. Is my guess. Look, man, pray for like Kyle. He had a UFC run, didn't go very well. I think it was a Dana White Contender Series, maybe only could have been. But he didn't get into the UFC. He's getting his UFC shot now. It's against a god dang killer, though. Like, this is not somebody you want to make your debut against. This is a ranked fighter who is almost at a title shot. And you want to come in and think that you're going to show the world? I almost put a 5 out of 5 on this. I don't ever put 5 out of 5. So, like, I think I've done it 2 times, maybe 3 times in the 5 years of this podcast. I didn't do a 5. I couldn't do it. Couldn't get myself to, just because of one thing. He's fighting in Canada. Somehow, some way, just that energy could connect. And we've saw Benoit Saint Denis get not noodled, but knocked out twice. So it could happen, but I'm going to go with the favorite here on the negative 1,300 side. 4 out of 5 on the confidence level there. You guys feel crazy, you can throw him on parlays, but because of that high ass freaking odds, I just can't do it. I've been screwed too many times. Yes, it helps me get a couple extra bucks on some of my parlays, but stay away from that fight, guys. Just stay away unless you're like me and you just know he's not going to lose, but there's that 10% puncher's chance. All right, I talked a little too much there. Match leg number 4 is a flyweight female fight between 2 great contenders. One trying to make a name for herself. Number 2's already been champion. Well, number 1's been champion. Number 2's trying to make a name for herself. Red card, blue card. You know how that goes. Alexa Grasso versus Natalia Silva. Natalia Silva negative 260 favorite. Alexa Grasso plus 210 underdog. I don't like the odds on this. I get why they're showing Natalia on the side of the favorite. That does not bother me. It's the almost 3-1 dog that's bothering me. When you got a girl who can grapple, strike, and got that Mexican freaking dog in her, and Alexa Grasso, you don't want to fight girls like that. But then you get the Brazilians who, they just don't care. They'll fight anybody. They're nuts too. But the Brazilian and Natalia Silva, she's got this great striking. Unbelievable striking. And in her Brazilian gyms, she knows grappling defense. But her striking is just way levels above her grappling defense. And that's where I think Alexa Grasso will have the advantage, is she can beat her on the feet. She can beat her on the ground. She can do takedowns. She can even defend takedowns. But she can also submit her. We've seen it. She submitted one of the hardest girls to submit ever in Valentina Shevchenko. I think Natalia's taken too big of a step up in competition here. And I think Alexa Grasso, being the UFC vet that she is, yes, Natalia's fought a lot of UFC fights, or a good amount. Grasso's got the experience, and I think Grasso gets a big W here on Saturday night with that plus 210. I'm only doing 1 out of 5 on the confidence level because obviously the last 2 fights we've seen with Grasso, she wasn't. Her last fight, I'll say, we didn't see her at her elite level. So that is the only downfall and why I think Alexa Grasso is almost 3-1 dog. All right, match leg number 3 is another different route by the Philyfli show, man. A lot of people call me a Jose Aldo hater. I am not a Jose Aldo hater. His resume is great. Don't get me wrong. He's got great wins, and he's an awesome top featherweight contender and a top bantamweight contender. The problem for me is I just don't think the competition was as tough in the featherweight division at the time that his reign was. If you count Strikeout or whatever, WEC or whatever that was called, I can't remember what it was called, and the UFC absorbed that and all those fights got absorbed. I get that, but I don't know, man. It's just, he's not the featherweight GOAT. I'm going to tell you that right now. He is not the featherweight GOAT. I just realized this is a featherweight fight. I thought it was bantamweight. Now I got to double check and make sure I'm not wrong, because I'm pretty sure it's bantamweight. No, it's featherweight. Wow. Okay, so Jose Aldo back at featherweight. That's kind of cool to see. The problem with that is he was a little small at featherweight, so I'm a little scared on my pick here. All right, Jose Aldo versus Ayman Zababi. Now, Zababi is a Canadian. He's obviously not the favorite. He's a plus 165 underdog. Jose Aldo, negative 195 favorite. If you know anything about the Philyfli show, we pretty much have gone against Jose Aldo so many times, and he has upset us with that Mario Bautista. But my reasoning for this is Zabini's he's good. He's a very good striker. I give him that. He ain't that top level, but he's very good. It's for me, it's the Jose Aldo experience, the body shots, how he'll stand and bang, and then nowadays he'll take a shot to get a better shot on you. It could be a bad night for Zabini, and that's how I'm feeling. But I'm only confident 1 out of 5 that Jose Aldo gets his hand raised. This is a fight I just stay away from betting, guys. Just unless you want to bet, you could bet the underdog to try to get yourself some money if you want. I wouldn't do it. I'm staying away from this fight just completely. Not even worth putting money on. All right. Co-main event of the evening. We're going a little long here, so I'm trying to hurry it up, guys. We get the champion Valentina Shevchenko versus Maddalena for the flyweight female division belt, strap, whatever you want to call it. We have a plus 105 on our good old champion Valentina Shevchenko and negative 125 on Mannion Farhat. Mannion has not fought a girl who's so good at grappling that she overpowers her in the grappling part. She's done good defense against good girls, but she's just got this power, the striking, this distance, her leg, everything, every tool she has, she uses it to the extreme. And I am going to sit here and defend her, and that this is going to be your new champion on Saturday. It's something about the press conference with Valentina, the way she was talking just seems like she's going to go in and try to make a statement. She feels like nobody respects her. That's the problem with most of these people. They go in going, Mannion Farhat's not that tough, and then they get kicked or punched in the head, and they realize this girl's got some crazy power. She's big, she's long. It's going to be a bad night for Valentina unless she can use that grappling and submit this girl and just beat her down that way. I do not see her winning standing up on the feet. If it's a stand-up fight, Mannion Farhat just destroys her. But it's going to be good to see. This fight got me 1 out of 5 on the confidence level too, man. Yo, dude, the whole main card is a 1 out of 5 besides the first fight. Usually that means it's a very good card for me. That just means we've got some great matchups here. All right, so now we get into the main event of the evening. The welterweight title is on the line. Everybody made weight. Belel, remember the name Muhammad, or forget the name Muhammad, whatever you want to say, versus JDM, Jack Della Maddalena. Now, do not sleep on that guy, Jack. JDM, 17-fight win streak. Most of it is in the UFC. I'm pretty sure it's 8 or 9 fights in the UFC. He has like 14 finishes out of the 17. That is some craziness. Like, absolutely nuttiness. And you get Belel Muhammad. He's on a great win streak. Absolutely dominated Leon Edwards when nobody thought he could. And he absolutely knocked out Sean Brady, who is one of the elite top contenders right now for the welterweight division. The problem with this fight for me is that Belel just hasn't had a title defense. He doesn't go in and break dudes down to a point where it's like pure domination. Even in that Leon Edwards fight, and he did dominate him, I will say that, but it wasn't so bad of a beatdown that people keep talking about, because when that fight ended in the 5th round, Leon was going for it. Yeah, it took him all the way to the end to get the energy to do it or go for it, but that dude was landing elbows and made Belel's face just messed up. So for me, that's not the most dominating fight, but he did. It was a dominance, but it wasn't as bad as people are saying. Like 5 rounds to none. I won't say 5 rounds to none. It might have been 4-1, and it might have been an ass beating, but it was not that type of domination that people keep saying. And he hasn't really done that to anyone. The only one you can say that is Sean Brady, and I think what happened with Sean, he didn't want to test the grappling skills off the bat when they were both fresh. I think he wanted to stand and bang and try to break him down that way, and Belel caught him. It doesn't matter what type of fighter you are, even if your striking is not considered good whatsoever. If your striking level's even on that Bryce Mitchell style striking level, you can knock. Everybody's got a puncher's chance. Anybody can get knocked out. You can land the most perfect jaw shot, and that's where I think Belel did with Sean Brady. So now we're going to roll over to Jack, a little explanation on what I like about Jack. Jack's good, well-rounded everywhere. He's not going to come forward taking you down to beat you down. But the dude's boxing is just underrated. Like, nobody talks about how good his boxing is. And not only is he good at boxing and striking and defense, the dude's got power behind his shots. So the way it's looking like to me is Belel's believing that he is so good that it doesn't matter who he's fighting, he's just going to dominate them. And that's the part where I think he's overlooking JDM. And I think JDM shocks the world on Saturday with a big knockout. Big. And I mean, single bet this. It's worth the risk. KO by Jack Della Maddalena. JDM gets it done on Saturday, and we don't have to remember the name Belel Muhammad. And we will get that crazy story where Islam moves up, and instead of him staying at lightweight, he will vacate. This is really what was told at the press conference yesterday, and that's why I'm going to say it, and it's a little longer of a podcast for you guys. But hey, here. This fight matters for Islam and Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira. Why does this matter in a welterweight fight for lightweight fighters? Because if Belel wins on Saturday, Islam won't move up, and we will get Islam versus Ilia Topuria. Nobody's going to complain about that fight. I like it in both ends, so it doesn't matter to me what happened. Well, it kind of does. I want JDM to be champion. If JDM wins on Saturday, Islam moves up, and for the lightweight strap in June, for the end of the June card, because we get 2 pay-per-views in June, which kind of suck. I don't like when there's 2 pay-per-views in the same month. I like 1 pay-per-view a month, guys, just money-wise, unless I'm going to the casino and watching it. But, yeah, it's just, I don't know. Otherwise, we get Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira for the lightweight title that night, and then we'll get Islam versus JDM. That's just craziness. I think Islam should move up anyways and just beat up Belel Muhammad. That's how I feel. So, shout out to Right Way Production Studios, always for making this happen. That is my complete sponsor, but not only does Right Way Production Studio do that, I also got a shout out to the mosquito and tick spray Lake area. Tick and Mosquito is the other business that this entrepreneur runs. So a little bit of information for you if you're in Minnesota area, from I'd say Hugo-ish all the way up to some part. Just look this guy up. Lake area mosquito tick if you need your stuff sprayed, you need your cabin sprayed up in the Minnesota area, and we would like to hear from you. If you guys want to chit chat with me, go to my X, go to my Twitter, Philyfli999, Philyfli 999 at X or at Twitter, whatever that app part is. Go to Twitter, find me, chit chat with me, look up my information, and we will see you all next week. Peace the bleep out, y'all.